Right. I guess. Let's go downstairs. I'll use the tablet. Alrighty. We are officially live. Copy a link. Send it to Ryan, my lovely moderator. And I shall spam it in my group chats. Oh, yeah. And here we are. So, now that we're live and my lovely moderator is here, for those of you who are watching after the fact and those of you who tune in along the way, welcome to Lessons in Manhood. I am your host, Malachi Amos Robinson, fake name, hidden identity. So, Brian, our friend in the chat, would you like to set a topic, one that we can discuss on YouTube, yet still be a little bit risque with? Hmm, well, we can all relate to. Well, how about YouTube and how it's gone to hell in the last couple of years? Very left leaning and whatnot. Alrighty. Well, for those of you watching later on, because I'll be leaving this live stream up on my channel, YouTube hasn't always been a Marxist cesspool of SJWs, feminists, and anti white male propaganda. It steadily declined into that. And there was several major things that led to the corkscrew downfall. Now, I will be making a playlist later on of other people's videos who have done a much better job than myself, which will be entitled YouTube and Why It Fell. But I guess you could take this live stream, or at least the first part of it, as a header for the playlist. Now, YouTube had a major fuck up a couple of years ago where it randomly killed a whole bunch of subscribers to channels across the system. And we're not just talking like small time people or people who were hardly ever active. We're talking major people, like the largest channel at the time, PewDiePie, lost thousands of subscribers, and not people who subbed once for one video and stopped watching or weren't even active on the website. We're talking regular, mainstream, the second the video is up, they were there kind of people. And they ended up fixing that, quote unquote, but every now and then people still discover, myself included, on my private account, that every now and then you'll randomly unsubscribe from people. And then their next major fuck up was a bug where people were no longer getting their favorite people's videos in their subscriber feed, which is why they introduced the notification bell because they couldn't figure out how to fix it. Then the next major screw up was actually deleting people's channels. They started deleting people's channels And videos also just went missing. I lost a video on one of my old channels, one where I showed my face. And basically, another one of their things is, obviously, the apocalypse. Now, everyone blames it on feuds, but let's face it, it's the gynocentric cesspit cauldron that is San Francisco that is to blame. Now, ultimately, apparently, there was a couple of videos that were monetized, and that's really YouTube's fault because they pick and choose who gets monetized. But essentially, there was a couple of videos that were monetized that supported a group of lunatics from the Middle East, and they had Coca-Cola ads playing on them. And the Washington Post made a puff piece about it, and a whole bunch of advertisers left the AdSense program. Now, ironically, these days, you can't call a spade because if I were to point out that the channels that were advertised were terrorist videos, I'd be demonetized for calling them terrorists. So, yeah, call a spade a spade. You're either against the enemies of freedom in the Western world, or you're Marxists. Which is it, YouTube? Now, ultimately, YouTube has had a very, very shaky relationship with advertisers ever since. Can't help but agree with that. They need to get their priorities straight. They're an American tech company, and they're managed and governed under American laws, such as the DMCA and so on and so forth. The First Amendment as well applies. This is a public forum. And when you look at the services that are provided by Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, there is a clear monopoly between these companies. And as such, they have made themselves a public forum, which means they are not exempt from the laws that are set forth by the First Amendment. And seeing as all of them, as far as I know, are American companies, I know Facebook is, I know Google definitely is, Twitter, I haven't really looked into, but I'm pretty sure Twitter is also an American company. And as such, they would come under the same laws that the First Amendment does. And ironically enough, because of that, that means they can get into major trouble in the long run for shutting down right wing opinion. Because it's actually a violation of freedom of speech. And as such, YouTube and its corkscrew downfall will ultimately either end up getting major government oversight, which will make the system even worse than it is now. It will end up getting massive, massive, massive fines placed upon its parent company from Congress, or Congress could just choose to shut it down the second enough right wing people decide to pursue the fact that their First Amendment rights are being infringed upon. See, a lot of people in the United States, they only know a couple of amendments to the Constitution, first, second, and maybe the fifth. But they've never actually read the Constitution. Hell, I haven't. I've been meaning to get around to it. But there is a lot more to the Constitution and constitutional law than people realize. And knowing your Constitution and knowing your laws can save your ass. History is one of the most important things that sets precedents for the laws we make. Essentially, America is in a unique position because they've got Constitution, a Bill of Rights, and a can't remember what the third significant thing was that makes up your pillars of law. But the thing is, countries like Australia, we don't have a constitution. We wrote one, but we didn't actually put it in place. England doesn't have a constitution or a Bill of Rights. It's governed by British common law, which we govern ourselves by as well. So does Canada. And in fact, Canada recently passed a bill into law that makes it so you have to refer to these Tumblr trenders that call themselves gender fluid by their appropriate pronouns, or you could end up in jail. Essentially, these transgender pretenders, right? Because I haven't got a problem with real transgender people. If you look down and you see a cock or you see a pussy and you know deep down that that's not what you're meant to be and you want to be the other one, and you make efforts to do so, you go on the right diets, you take the pills, you get the surgery, I'm going to call you a she or a he, whichever one you transitioned into. But if you're going to walk up to me and say, well, my pronoun is these, them, and I'm gender non-conforming, I'm going to slap you, look at you, and go, "You're a female, suck my dick," or "You're a male, join the fucking army, grow some balls." Microphone back. Test one, two. I can hear the microphone coming in on my end. Have you got it? All right, cool. Well, that happened. Now, as I was saying, if you're actually making effort to transition from one to the other gender, I will, out of respect, call you him or her. But when you look down deep down on biological terms, you're still going to be whatever you started off as. There is ways to change the external, but there is no ways to change the internal. Your chromosomes, your organs, and that you can cut out your uterus, right? I don't think there's a way to make artificial sperm or artificial eggs. We're working on artificial wombs, but we we can't change your chromosomes. Your hormones can be different, but we can't change your chromosomes. Deep down, your DNA is still going to say, well, if I were to fry you under a flamethrower until there was nothing left that I could reasonably identify you, we'll test your blood. And your blood would say you're either male or female. And also, this isn't some kind of discrimination, it's just the facts. Alright? Now, I'm not denigrating these people and saying that they don't exist. They've existed throughout history. Cross dressers have always wanted to be female or male. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Homosexuality exists in nature. Hell, ducks are necrophiliatic homosexuals. Basically, basically, these things, yes, they exist in nature, but they are not a part of your identity, right? Humans are male or female. You've got a certain number of presets. One in every, I think it's 100,000 people are born hermaphroditic. They've got enough of both, but they're sterile. And one in every 10 million are born asexual in a physical sense, as in they can't reproduce and have no discernible genitalia. Again, completely, what's the word? Sterile. Completely sterile. And out of those presets, we can determine that you're either male or female. Boom, done. And from there, you've got three other presets. You either you either like the male persuasion, you like the female persuasion, or you like a little bit of both. Right? There's not this broad spectrum. There is I'm a hardline pussy licker, I'm a hardline cocksucker, or a varying amount of both. People say there's also pansexual, but that's just simply someone who dates for personality. And in the case of a man, that's because you've actually, been fucked over enough times that you know not to go for the pretty girl. You go for the girl who, well, actually wants a man. And if you're a woman, it's because you've hit the wall and you've started aging in dog years and you know you can't get the stud anymore. Mm-mm. Yeah, it's very fucking rare. It's like 1 in 10,000 people are born with both genitalia, and 1 in every 10 million people are born without either. And I don't even want to know what their chromosomes look like. I mean, just adding one extra chromosome gives someone Down syndrome. So you'd be fucked if you're one of those 1 in 10 million people who are born genetically asexual. Mm. But we've covered anti-SJW stuff now. We've discovered American constitutional law to a very limited extent. Oh, that's one of the major topics that this channel is going to be. Uh, this channel is essentially going to be anti-SJW content, MGTOW content, and those two overlap a fair bit. Gun content and so on and so forth. Speaking of which, I will be right back. Not guns, because I'm still in this shithole country, but other things. Alright, I'm back. Can you hear me? Alright, it's coming through on mine at least. Alright, so there's about a 5-second delay on my feed. You still there, Brian? Alrighty. Well, seeing as I'm in a shit-ass socialist country, I haven't got any guns to show you yet, but you know my Facebook page, my personal one. So you've seen these, but I'll give you a closer look at them. Yeah. This is a United States Marine Corps K-bar. And how am I going to go about this? I'm limited by a cable at the moment. Right. Right. At the moment, I only have this in terms of combat knives. It's not very sharp. I need to get it sharpened. Now, essentially, this thing is a straight edge blade, goring tip. It's designed for close quarters combat and assassinations. This is still legal in Australia, just only in certain places. But I will be getting a completely different model made. One that will be a replica of the original with superior materials. It will be made with what do you call it? Damascus steel. This is a single-edged blade, which is legal. What I'll be getting a little bit less so. It'll be double-edged, and from here back, be serrated. Cutting rope, cutting meat. Double-edged because if I actually use this as a hunting tool, I want to be humane and quick and clean. But apparently these things are inhumane because on the off chance that whatever I'm stabbing survives, it's harder to stitch up. Well, you're not going to get that opportunity if I'm using it as a hunting knife. I'm going to be carving it up for dinner for the next week, whatever it is I was hunting. This is just a Saxon tomahawk, purely for chopping firewood and used as a hammer. Nothing particularly special. This is a Saxon tomahawk. Personally, I want to get one made from cold steel. Their handles and their actual axe head are a single piece, whereas this has got silicon through a hollowed out head, which means eventually this thing will come flying off, especially with me using it. Oh, bloody hell. Yes. Anyway, I named this beauty Patricia. I'm yet to give this a name. Probably Bastard. Hey, get over here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. You've seen Dad in his mask before. Come here. Oh. Meet the channel mascot. Mr. Mango. I will gladly put his face all over the internet. It's just like Asians, all cats look the same. Well, all cats are the same breed anyway. Hmm. Eh? Well, I'm starting to sweat it up. We've gone for about 25 minutes here. I'll leave this up on the channel. Thanks for chatting along with me. Hopefully, I'll be able to get to a regular schedule, but that's not just entirely dependent on me. It's also dependent on the roommate, who will never show up on camera, period. And, yeah. I'll catch you next time. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about, but I knew I wanted to. So, yeah. Anyway, this has been Lessons in Manhood. Peace out.